Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 187th episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast. With us, as always, is Nap from Nap's Naughty Works and Josh from North Country Woodwork. Myself, Tim, with Gears and Fire, right? Gears and Fire, is that who my guy? Is that who I am? Yeah, okay. And then we have a special guest, Darren with Silent H Works. How is it going, everyone?
Going good.
It's going. Someone's pouring something. Sounds like he's urinating.
He's doing just fine. But,
don't you worry about me.
Enough.
Josh is getting spicy, ladies and gentlemen. That's all right. That's his interview.
Well, you know.
And we said you were
I'm 1/32nd the man I used to be. Josh. Okay, so leave me alone.
But slimming down, looking better, all the good stuff. Nap, I can't help but notice you're a little bit more pepped. You're more awake. I mean, is little guy letting you sleep a little bit, or what's going on?
I still have a iron woman of a wife. She's still on her parental leave from work, and I'm not. So she's letting me sleep so I can go to work every day and do my job. And then when she goes back to work and I'm on my first 6 weeks, I'll be the one that's up all night. So I won't be as chipper each week. But hey, listen, it's not about me this episode because we're going to be grilling our guest here. So as Tim said, we have Darren from Silent H Woodworks. And man, so tell us a little about yourself. Tell us about you, what got you into woodworking, what you primarily focus in. Lay it all in on us.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how far to go back. I was looking. I've got a piece in my shop that I think I was in probably third or fourth grade. It was in like Cub Scouts, and we did like soap carving or something like that. And my mom recognized that I did a good job at it, enjoyed it, whatever it was, and then hooked me up with a older guy that lived in town who was a wood carver. So I've got this. It actually looks really good, and I will say that. Most people, they see it, they're like, wow, that's the first thing you did. And I'm like, yeah, but I think the old guy did a vast majority of it for me. I was, running around his shop, tinkering with his toy, tinkering with his, all his cool tools and stuff like that, and probably being told not to. Just spent most of my time in the woods, really. Grew up a Forest Service kid, got into forestry myself. I went to school at Michigan Technological University for forestry. So I have a bachelor's in forestry, and that's what I do now. I'm a utility forester for a utility. Really just kind of enjoy anything tree related. I've been all over the country doing that sort of thing. I work for the Forest Service, work for the Park Service, really just kind of like trees in general. And when I was in college, I lived with a buddy of mine, or lived with a buddy of mine's parents, I should say, for a couple of semesters. And the guy was he was a really good scroll saw work. And the guy's grandfather was a master woodworker. I mean, he could make anything. And he just happened to put me in touch with one of the local high schools to see if I wanted to try my hand at wood turning. So I went there and I got hooked on wood turning right away. That's one of those things that, and I know Josh has started that up, but that's one of those things that you can do stuff relatively like quickly, and all of a sudden you're like, from start to finish within a few hours, you can be like, holy crap, I just made something, Mm-hmm. And that really got me hooked, and I started turning. So that'd have been probably, I don't know, 15, 18 years ago, something like that. And so I started wood turning, and then probably in the last, 5 or 6 years, I've gotten into a little bit of furniture making, do some guitar, general stringed instrument kind of repairs and that sort of thing. But just really enjoy the whole process of woodworking. It's amazing. It's a pretty amazing material that has, so many different uses. Everyone, we use it in our daily lives. It builds the houses that we're in, the utensils that we eat. It used to be, combs for combing your hair for those of us that have it. And I wasn't looking at you. This hat's on for a reason.
He was.
But really just enjoy the making process. It's you get it I don't know if it recharges your batteries, but I just kind of like that artistic kind of flow a little bit. It's a good time, and it's a good pastime, and good stress reliever, and it's a good way to, make a little extra money too if you want to. But that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess.
So yeah, you say
Very
it's
cool.
Therapeutic in a way.
Yeah.
So once upon a time it was. Don't get me wrong. There's certain things that I still very much enjoy. Like I like watching my CNC work. Like I'll just sit there and watch it. ASMR, just watch it go in circles. It's great. I love watching my rotary machine go. Like that's what I like to do now. As far as making things, sometimes though, I'm just like, I gotta make this. I'm actually still staring at a project that's been on my sheet for quite some time. That's get it done when you can, and I just don't want to make it.
I think that's a theme across like either woodworkers, artists, whatever you want to call it. Like, there will be times where I'm super motivated and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get out and I've got this idea in my head and I'm going to put it on paper and then try and make it. And then there's other times where I'm just like, not a chance. Am I getting out there? So yeah, it definitely ebbs and flows.
The fact that I can procrastinate and still get it done means I can procrastinate.
That might be why I like it, actually.
Legitimately, that's a sign that's currently on my laser right now. I waited till tonight to do it. It's due tomorrow.
That's really cool. Now, Darren, you had mentioned that you were into forestry. That's really interesting because, like, so my wife has a degree in natural resources, and my brother cuts down and prunes trees for a living.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that you're kind of like right square in the middle of all the right people here. Are you able to repurpose anything that you mill? Have you been able to cut a tree down, mill it for boards, all that good stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Other than burls and stuff like that?
Oh, cool. Absolutely. Okay. In fact, wood turning is a great way to start doing that, right? Because you can work small. Even if you don't have access to, trees in the forest, you don't have a chainsaw, maybe don't know how to use it. And if you don't know how to use a chainsaw, please don't. But yeah, you can get small pieces and you can make pretty incredible, really incredible stuff. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I've fallen quite a few trees on our property when we moved up here. We had it was just like literally a cabin just surrounded by way too many trees. And I didn't really want that much yard work. So I started taking those down. I've taken down, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 of them so far. I've milled up. I've had somebody with a portable bandsaw come out and take stuff. So I've got, I don't know how many, I've got probably about 1,000 board feet in my garage drying right now of red oak. So looking to make a new workbench in a couple years when it finally air dries.
Yep, I'm in the same boat, but with ash.
I love ash.
Wisconsin has ash trees coming down all over the place.
Not easy, that kind.
Josh. Take it easy. Josh.
Also that kind.
I am just saying we all have appreciation for ash. It is a very nice structure,
nice piece of ash,
and we can appreciate it in the way it is. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, it's not as good as red oak, but
Okay,
red oak is pretty.
I've had struggles with red oak, with drying red oak. It's a little fickle, especially in like smaller batches, just because I air dry it. I don't have, a kiln or anything like that. So I find that, if you don't do it just right, man, it splits so quick. But the nice thing is you can actually get red oak pretty cheaply in most places, at least in the eastern part of the country.
Up north, it's still about, depending on what grade you get, right? I'd say if you get the stuff that's got knots in it, it's like $4 or $5 a board foot, and then the nicer stuff's closer to like $6.
Too bad at all.
It's not bad, but considering I used to pay, $3.33 a board foot.
Done you, man. You're
I'd say that's about what it is here, $2 to $3 a board foot.
Damn.
For rough
that
sawn.
hurts my feelings. Yeah, I'll mill my own. Like I'll shape all my wood if I have to. Like if it's cheaper for me to just go ahead and do the rest of it, cool. But if it's not much more expensive to get like a S2S or something like that, like I'll do that. I'll be like, 15, 20 cents more. Screw it. I'll just do that.
What are you getting now?
Oh yeah, save you a ton of time.
Where do you get normal?
What's that? Oh no, I mean I get stuff surfaced now because it's not, like I said, not much cheaper, or not much cheaper just to get roughs on. But when I was at that one place that I no longer talk about, which I don't remember what the place was called, Alamo Wood
The place that
Lumber
shall
Yard,
not
what
be
the hell
named?
that place was called. Yeah, I don't care. I don't live in Texas anymore. They were like, dude was in business pants and a polo, and he would sell you upcharge. Like it was ridiculous how much he was charging. And it'd be rough sawn. And I'd go to this. I went to this other place. And I'm like, why the hell haven't I been coming to you guys to begin with? That other place been ripping like he was stealing the clothes off my back, selling me lumber. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah.
You guys are gonna hate this. I got a small sawmill near me, and I can get walnut for about $4 a board foot.
No, just stop.
I say my guy.
A day.
We got a guy in Kakana. We got a guy in Kakana that'll sell it for 8 to 9 currently.
That's what I have here.
Yeah, it's pretty standard, I think, depending on where you're at.
Well, see, it's standard if the guy goes to your neck of the woods, which he does. He trucks all the way over there, buys it, and then sells it for a little more, right? It's so that makes more sense now. You said for about $4 to $5 a board foot.
Yeah, there's a small like sawmill up here that I was a buddy of mine was like, oh yeah, check this out. He's like, yeah, here's their price list. I was like, well, I got to imagine their price list fluctuates. He's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no?
Did they not understand what they have, or is there just no demand for it?
I don't think there's a huge demand for it, honestly. It's not something that readily grows up here. The further south you get in Wisconsin, you're going to have a lot more black walnut, but this is kind of the northern edge where black walnut's really gonna grow. I tried planting a bunch of them on my property, and then the deer said nope.
Oh, they loved you.
But all that to say is this guy, I think, comes over there and he buys it for relatively close to the same. Because I'm sitting here like North Dakota, this place down south for me, they sell it for like almost $19 a board foot. And I'm like, what in the flying
S4S
is
like
going
is
on
it?
here? That's a gas station, folks. It's the premium. It has no knots. Whatever. So. But the other guy sells me the stuff with no knots, and it's $9 a board foot. So I'm going to go to that guy who's literally 10 minutes away from me rather than driving 2 hours to just, get robbed on the way out the door. You know what I mean?
I think we've all dealt with that lumber yard that kind of robbed us blind. I mean, I was dealing with almost the same thing in the beginning in New Jersey, which got increasingly better the more I went. But when they first saw me, man, I think I bought a piece of spalted maple, and it was maybe a half-inch thick. I mean, it looked like scrap, and I paid up the butt for that thing. Like, I walked away like, how in the hell? I was making a pretty good profit off the product I was doing, so it didn't really matter. But I still was like, my God, like, how is this possible? But toward the end, it was.
You can make your own spalted wood. Believe it or not.
How?
One of my professors at Michigan Tech, she's actually kind of considered like the doctor of spalting, right? So Sari Robinson, she's got a couple books out there. Fantastic read if you're looking to. But if you've got small scraps, something that, everyone's got scraps that are left over, and you'd be like, oh man, this would be cool if it was spalted. Literally all you have to do is get yourself like a plastic container somewhere and then, vermiculite. So that kind of like flaky, silvery stuff that you'd find in, garden soil, you can buy just vermiculite. Put that in there, add a little water, check on it every couple of months, and your board will be spalted.
Mind blown.
Interesting. And
so you can control it then too, right? So then you can go, okay, because sometimes you can get spalted wood and it's just like too punky, and you can't really do much with it. It's spongy. It's just kind of garbage wood. So if you're doing it. If you're doing it in small quantities, you can actually control it then and go, okay, this isn't quite where I want it to be. I'll let it sit for another month. And so really all it is just bacteria that's, basically feeding on the sugars in the wood. And that's what causes the various colors and lines. But yeah, Sari Robinson. So it's Seri Robinson.
I just learned I'm doing this. No, okay, so then here I'm curious now. So let's just say I don't put this in a container. Let's just say I want to treat the surface of a piece of wood, right? Could you do something like that?
I suppose you could. 'Cause you don't have to necessarily put it in a container, but essentially what you want to do is you want to keep it, somewhat moist and warm, because you want that bacteria to be able to thrive. So it doesn't even have to be a plastic container. You could literally, if you wanted to, you could bury a board, under some dirt or something like that for a period. Now you might, then it's, if you're going to run that through your machine, you probably don't want to be running a bunch of sand or anything through it. But yeah, you can, like for wood turning, I used to go out and just like when I was out in the woods, it's like, oh, okay, I'd check a log or something on an old a logging. How are there bugs flying around here? There's just a there's a ladybug. I don't even know how that's possible. But yeah, you can. Yeah, I used to go out in the woods and just go find these offcuts that the loggers would leave. They've been sitting in the woods for 6 months, year, however long it is, and then take a chainsaw, cut it open, and see what it looked like. And sometimes it was junk, and sometimes it was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Sometimes you get gold.
Sometimes they may be good, or sometimes they may be.
But yeah, they're good reads.
I understand the process of it. I just never thought. I mean, like you can self-induce it with a material easy to get.
So, Josh, down by your neck of the woods, like, have you found a decent lumber mill that's like not too far of a country drive?
Okay, so we got to imagine where I grew up, everything was 30, 40 minutes. Here in Jersey, everything was 30, 40 minutes. So driving 30, 40 minutes is not a big drive, really. Everything's kind of closer here than it has been in the past. Unfortunately, the mill I go to is about 34 minutes. So not a bad drive, all country roads. And it's called Coons Carpentry. And it's been owned by the same owner for, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think it's 6 years. And he basically started as a contracting firm, I believe, kind of went into more furniture. And then long story short, now he sells wood. They do furniture, big old establishment. It's where I get most of my wood. I actually bought a pretty big order here a while back. As my son said, he said I'm spending $50 based on what I had. I put another zero behind that. So, yeah, I spent some money there. But, again, small town feel, like I sat in there, I was able to talk. I actually probably talked longer than I shopped. They also handed my son a birdhouse to build, like pieces to a birdhouse, gave me a shirt. I like supporting things like that. Like the fact I can get there, I can actually buy, exotics. I can buy pretty much anything I want. And they're like, yeah, go ahead, go back there, choose what you want and just let us know. We'll measure it up and get you, on your ticket. And then, really supportive of my son being there and it just very family feel. And there was people walking in and out the street just to talk, not to buy anything, just to, see how everyone's doing. So it's close. Well, I'm willing to drive that distance, 30, 40 minutes to essentially get that. But yeah, I mean,
you can probably get some really diverse domestic hardwoods, I'm guessing, by you. I mean, you've got a pretty good species diversity. I'm not sure what part of Illinois you're in, but I mean, you can probably get anything from, persimmon, tulip, poplar, things that you're not going to find anywhere else, or at least, not mass produced or whatever. But yeah, you should be able to get a lot of cool stuff.
There is definitely more choices here than what I'm used to, at least from Jersey. And it's nice to be able to start exploring some of these species I haven't worked with. Recently, I don't know if I pronounce this right. It's Catalox. It's the Mexican ebony. I got to use that and it tooled nicely. It's beautiful wood. The outside of it is dark, which I'm guessing as it ages, it darkens. But the inside is just this rustic, like beautiful brown. And it has had spalting in it. I mean, just beautiful piece. I put it into a shadow box that was recently sent to California. So, yeah, a beautiful piece there.
Everyone noticed had. That'll be talked about, I'm sure, a little bit later.
Only conversation there.
Yeah, that'll be cut from the actual episode. But what I will say about the wood stuff real quick. So, Darren, you said there isn't much of a demand for where you're at. Well, so that's the problem here is there is a demand for other things. However, there's very limited lumber mills here that are open to the public or that sell surfaced and or milled wood. So the place that I would go to down south, they're one of like 3 or 4, maybe in like my immediate area, 2 hours every direction. And that is why things are so expensive. Mind you, again, found a better source. Certain things I am okay with, like oak and cherry and stuff being roughly the same per board foot. Okay, cool. But I'm not going to go pay almost $20 for a board foot of walnut.
Yeah.
Unless the customer is going to pay for it, which in this case, the customer asking for a 48-inch wide by whatever the hell tall coin rack, that's going to be still expensive all in itself because of how big it is. But if I'm using walnut, that's going to cost some money too. But I don't want to affect my bottom line and also punish the customer because of supply and demand.
Is that
issues,
local or you have to ship
When I think of the Dakotas, I don't think of trees. I mean,
no, I don't either.
Unless you're in South Dakota.
So they get all of their stuff from like Minnesota, Wisconsin, bordering, all those places. They ship all that in, which I can assume why it's so expensive, because you're paying trucking companies their cut. You got to put a percentage on it up to make a profit as a business. So I get it. They're doing good business. It's just, it sucks for the consumer because you want to make something nice for the customer. They want something special. You give them a price and they go, well, why is this so expensive? It's not that big. Well, let me break it down for you. And then they go, oh, well, I guess put it that way. I guess it makes sense. Well, maybe I guess I don't want that material. I'll get this instead. And it kind of sucks because you can see the disappointment in their face, when they don't get necessarily exactly what they want. But I have found ways around it. And the guy that is selling walnut in the local area who gets it from the neighboring states, he gets it and brings it back, and I get it for $9 a board foot. I will happily pay $9 a board foot for walnut any day of the week, because it was 12 in Texas. So there's that.
Yeah, I was paying more than that.
I'll go up to what's the name of the Bell Forest products? I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're probably one of the only. They're probably one of the only successful wood shipping companies that you can go there, check them out, bellforestproducts.com. If you walk in their store, it's like, oh, I could dump my entire fortune in here, which I don't have a fortune, but I could dump whatever I could dump all of my money in that store. But you can get anything there. And it honestly, like, I don't know what the shipping would be, but like it's typically about $9 to $12, I think, a board foot for walnut at Bell Forest Products when I go in there. I don't know. I'm sure it's more if you have it shipped, but you can buy, any amazing, exotic woods, and it's a local Upper Peninsula Michigan company, and they've just done really well for themselves.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I got to experiment more with more exotic woods now I have available to me, and I can go ahead and pick them up. And having different types of woods like that, it gives you more experience in, your projects and how different things react to each other. And, it's nice not having just the standard available, which my lumber yard had more than the standard, but I was paying pretty high prices for the standard stuff. I didn't even want to experience or go into the more exotic stuff. But I'm pretty excited about the opportunities here. And there is a vast amount of species of trees here. I'm starting to learn that slowly. We've been doing a little more hiking and stuff like that, getting out there. And they're actually pretty good about placards on the hikes, the different trees and whatnot here, which, I've seen here and there, but like almost every trail has it. So my son could read it and he's like recognizing what, oak looks like and, the different species. So you're right. There's quite a bit here. Illinois is definitely impressing me when it comes to the woodworking. So I'm looking forward to see what else, what other surprises.
I used to live in Kansas City as a forester. And I'd moved from Colorado, which has, there's like 3 species there, really not that many.
Wow.
And then I moved to Kansas City doing forestry work, utility type forestry. And I had to it was like basically going back to college. I'm looking around going, I have no idea what, half of these trees are. And it didn't take too long to learn, just because I had a background in it as it was. But man, I was blown away. I'm just like, yep, never even heard of this species. So it's interesting.
So you have a more of a degree and background than the three of us when it comes to species wood movement. Basically, the stuff we talk to, but we've learned over time versus having a degree and whatnot. Is there any kind of myths that you hear on social media or just internet in general that you want to debunk?
Oh,
That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. It's an open-ended one too. Really, first of all, wood movement, it is not a myth. It does move. All wood's going to move. It's a natural product, as it's going to change with the relative humidity, so that's why you're going to get, in the winter, your wood's going to shrink because it's losing moisture and it dries out. But I think the main thing that anyone should kind of bone up on if they want to know about wood movement is actually start looking at like their modulus of rupture and modulus of elasticity. You can find all of that information on Wood Database, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard of that. And it's a good way to help you ID lumber, but it has a lot of information. But those sound like really technical terms, and they are. But once you kind of understand them, it's really a relationship. And basically, like your modulus of elasticity is going to be like for ash, for example, it's going to have a higher modulus of elasticity. So that's going to be, it's going to have a higher bending strength. So that's why it's good for, steam bending. That's why they use it for, hockey sticks, toboggans, yeah. And oak will bend too, cedar, but I mean, some species will bend more than others. And so that's your modulus of elasticity is really just how much it'll bend. And I think the best thing to know is because you're going to look at it when you go on there, you're going to look at a number and go, I don't know what the hell this number means. And in truth, it doesn't really have to mean, you don't have to know exactly what that number means. What you need to know is like you've probably worked with certain species enough that you have a pretty good feel for how they tool. Are they going to be fragile? Are they going to work well? Are they really hard and going to dull your tools? So once you have like a species, like say, let's just use oak, for example, you're going to know how oak works. You kind of understand how it moves after you've built a few things. You're going to learn from experience too, like, oh shit, that cracked, or oh shoot, that cracked. And so then you can look at that species. So you could go on the Wood Database and go, okay, what do these properties have? I know how this works. And then you can look at those numbers in relation to something that you already know. And so then you can get kind of a good feel as to how that particular species is going to act. And the other thing for like wood movement is it's a ratio. It's a proportion of how much it moves, so there's a couple things to think about. So there's basically you got radial, right? So your tree, it's a big stem, grows in annual growth rings. That's going to be your radial movement. So it's going to move a certain way. Tangentially is if you were to just kind of cut one face off of it. So that's kind of your flat sawn type lumber. And then of course you've got like, rift or quarter sawn. As long as so tangentially things are going to move more. So we all know that if you have a board, right, if you got a 4-foot long board, it's not moving across 4 feet, right? It's not moving. Essentially that board would be standing straight up and down. It's not going to move up and down at all. You'll have no movement there. Where you'll have the most movement is where you have, like, say, if you cut it tangentially, a flat sawn board, then you're going to get basically movement in multiple directions because it's going to be moving radially. It's going to be moving in all the directions that it can. And so it might be a little bit less stable. That's why quarter sawn is preferred by, if you want, furniture makers, whatever, it's preferred because you kind of know what that movement is. It's limited. It doesn't have as much movement. You don't have forces pulling on it different directions. It's pretty much going to move one direction. And so that's where you get kind of wood movement, but there's a lot into it. And there's a lot I absolutely don't know about that stuff. But I think the biggest advice I could give is say, there is going to be a species that how it works. And then you can go on the Wood Database and look at that number, whatever those numbers are, in relation to something that and get a pretty good feel for, how that wood is going to react. That's no myths debunked, but that's my best best advice.
Well, no, I mean, I hope most people that listen to the podcast understand, wood does move. Some people don't realize that, and, they expect it to stay the same and the table to stay straight and, everything. What about interactions with glue and wood movement? Do you have any type of glue that you...
I feel a theme.
We're leading to it.
I don't know how much info I have on that, but continue with your question. I guess
So does a vast temperature change and humidity change affect the adhesion levels of glue?
It shouldn't, honestly, whatever glue you're using, it shouldn't have any effect on the bond. Now, it might have an effect if you were trying to glue something up at like 40 degrees, right? Because then it might not cure, because whatever glue you're using is going to probably have some sort of specification that, okay, yeah, it should be between, I'm just going to make up some numbers here, but between 50 and 80 degrees, right? Yeah. And so if you're trying to glue something up when it's 40 degrees out, you might get some failure at that joint because it might not cure. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're gluing, as long as your glue ups are happening in a somewhat controlled temperature, and once it's dried and cured, you should be fine. Now, you might notice, I've heard, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but you've heard of glue creep, right? Where all of a sudden your wood moves and you can feel the glue line potentially on whatever your panel you glued up. And I've heard that Type Bond 1 is not affected by that, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I think as long as you're, gluing up in a relatively normal temperature, you should be fine.
I've heard the same thing about, no, I think the dogs loves my finger ever since. Chew toy. No, Type On 1, I have heard that before, that, for the most part is incredibly stable. I use Type On 2 because I hear it is a little more flexible, better for wood movement when it comes to certain things.
It's better.
So
I'm a 3 guy.
Type On 3 has better properties when it comes to certain things. But even if it depends on what you're talking about, I use 2 because it meets the specs I'm looking for. Type On 3 is not as
resistance versus proof.
Well, no. So Type On 3 is not as flexible as 2. And
sure.
It doesn't matter which you use. Okay, if you use 1, 2, or 3, you
I think 2 might have a longer open time, a longer working
it's
time.
Good for
it does. And I mess up enough where I need that.
I've been there. Still.
Yeah, I never been so stressed out than doing my first couple of glue ups. I think I was sweating half the time because I was trying to line up the boards, make sure they're flat. But we're digressing into a whole different topic here. And bad on me. I mean, I did take a day out of the shop after my finger because I needed to. But I mean,
it seems reasonable.
At least you got most of it. Most of it's still there. I'm missing the top of this.
Actually, it's right there.
See?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. I am grateful for every inch that was left. I honestly there you go.
I was going to say I can't afford a whole lot of loss, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think every little bit I can. But I don't know. That is what I was dealing with. As far as the finger and everything go, I'll say it again. I'm actually happy. It sounds weird, right? I got injured, but I'm happy.
That's a good wake up call for you.
It's wake up call. It's just one of those things where it could have been so much worse. I got the tip of my finger. It's missing and it hurts and dealing with it, but didn't hit bone. I didn't. It's literally just the tip. I mean, I got dad jokes for days now. So, I mean,
yeah.
I'm happy. Messing with the blade I was messing with, and it's just the whole scenario. It couldn't have happened better. I mean, it could have never happened, but it couldn't have happened wrong better. Kind of oxymoron, but
all I'm saying is losing a piece of your finger is not a good thing. Okay, folks, everyone listening. Okay, there is no better to this situation other than not losing your finger.
We're not recommending anything except for safety.
Absolutely not. 10 out of 10. Do not recommend touching a moving saw blade with your finger. I've done it by accident. Piece of glove, caught on it, took a piece of my thumb. Luckily, it looks like it grew back. It must be part lizard. Not sure. But yeah, it was
We're
bad.
try it again. But
Do not
can
recommend.
you imagine being in occupational safety in the Air Force and calling your supervisor saying you lost a tippy? Yeah.
Hey, bro, nice 978.
Oh, yeah. I filled my own out. I sent it to him, and then I filed my own mishap report, which was fun.
Did you sign it with blood?
Well, it's digital. My computer monitor is kind of messy now, but yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, it was an interesting week. I got nothing but crap, but it was all in good fun. Grateful that I work with the people I do because they could have given me so much more help. But I did get signed up for a machine guarding class, and I am teaching machine guarding from now on.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, that's my story. We'll edit that little piece out, and if you're not a Patreon and you're curious on what just happened, you can always, become a Patreon and then watch and listen to this episode. So that's my plug for that.
You'd be happy to hang out with you guys every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We need more
Absolutely.
Patreons.
And talk about Patreons, Darren, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a quick moment and recognize we have another Patreon that joined today. Isaiah has been listening to the podcast from almost the very beginning, if not the beginning. And his workshop name is Trails Custom Woodworks. And he signed up for the $7 pot of sawdust today. So thank you, man. I appreciate you going ahead and signing up.
Thank you, Isaac.
It's definitely appreciated. It's nice to see people that have been listening for a while sign up and be a part of it a little bit more. So with that, I don't know what other topics. That was my big story. If you guys want to get into shop talk and stuff like that, we definitely can, or we can start picking Darren's mind a little bit when it comes to wood.
Well, I'm curious, Darren, what are you working on right now? What's like your active project right this second?
Currently,
what's waiting for you on your bench?
Currently, it is a toy box for a family member.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
It was one of those ones that you didn't want to do because they go, oh, what's the price range, and you're like,
Yeah.
All right, less than waitress wages. Here we go.
Yeah, that's the family special right there. Can I get it for that free $3.99? And you're like,
how about no?
That's what you want to say, but sometimes you just gotta suck it up and do it. So,
sometimes,
yeah, it was just a pine, nothing too fancy. Just a pine toy box, about 35 inches by 18 by 18, something like that. But what was kind of unique about it was they've done this with all their kids. They have somebody they know does wood burning, and so basically I just made that front panel and put some stabilizing on the back of it just so it wasn't cupping or whatever. When I sent it down there, they wood burned this really cool I don't know, scene with like bunny rabbits and the kid's name on it and everything, and it looks really cute. And then they shipped it back to me and I put it all together. So now I'm just kind of putting the finish on it, but it's a pretty cute little toy box.
A lot of pressure when someone does all that,
and it gets them involved too. Yeah. So you take care of the art side. Yes, I'll do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I was looking because for the price point, I was going, okay, well, maybe I can go to Home Depot and just get some S4S, glue the panel up. It'll be nice and easy. And then I priced that out and I went, okay, well, now I'm going to be working for negative dollars. So I was like, all right. So then, it took me like probably 3 hours to source some rough sawn, just pine. Got it for like about $1 a board foot. And
nice.
Went over to about a half hour from me, went over, picked it up from a guy, BS with him. That's kind of the nice thing about going to random small sawmills. It's like, yeah, you can just talk shop with a complete stranger and it's a great time. And I'm going to go back at some point if I need pine or whatever else from him. Good price. I could, pick through the stack, and he had stacks. I mean, like he had to get it down with, forklifts, and it was all stored outside or whatever, but it was all kiln dried. But then it took probably another 6 hours to mill everything down and get it all cut. So by the time everything was all said and done, it took a long time. But it turned out nice, and I think they're going to like it once I actually make a trip back down to Green Bay and drop it off. So I think they'll appreciate it.
Well, when you're in Green Bay, let me know. I'm only a half hour away from Green Bay. So
yeah, we'll do. Now that I know some other woodworkers, yeah, I'll take a trip down.
Maker meetup sounds like
sweet. Absolutely.
And
So I don't know too many other makers in like our direct area that are on Instagram. I know like a couple in Milwaukee and stuff like that, like the far away folks.
yeah,
For the most part, like like it like with Nap and Josh, like they're out there. You're just not sure where.
Yeah, North Dakota.
and the biggest problem about woodworkers is it's not really a team sport generally, right? So it's just like you in the shop, and hours later you're
We're
out.
typically a bunch of introverts.
Well, so okay, I'm an extrovert, but it does take a lot of energy for me not to hurt somebody when they're in my shop.
That's fair.
So
Hey,
for
wait,
a long time I was in San Antonio.
A lot of effort.
It took a little bit. It took a lot of
I see the
effort.
vein popping out.
Yeah, but no, honestly. So when I started the podcast, I talked about like helping people out and those things. My shop's open to people. If I've got it and you need it, I don't even care if I'm just meeting you. I'll run you through it. If you've never used a CNC, probably not letting you touch that right away. I'll teach you how to use it. And then maybe after I've seen you use it, kind of like a new 3 level or a new airman, they're learning how to do stuff like, all right, let me watch you.
I totally trust you.
Yeah. But no, so I have actually, there's 3 makers out there that I've pretty much helped them get into the things that they made. One of which was Arkham's Accents, an MTI or military training instructor, John Davis, military training instructor. And then another guy, I more or less just helped him improve his stuff. And that was Coffee Custom Knives. And those are also guys in San Antonio. 2 of them both had prior background in doing woodworking type stuff, but big furniture, not so much like CNC and stuff. Taught people how to use lasers and those things. So I love having people in the shop because it actually motivates me to be in there more and then show off that I can do things. But then other times it's like I don't really want anybody around me. And then, it's introverted time. It's time to be like, okay. And I'm in my happy place, so there's a time and place.
Thanks for stopping by. Come on.
Dude,
There's a door.
I'm telling you what, I've had one individual that I had in San Antonio, and no, it's nobody that I know very well that I talk to on a daily basis. But there was a guy that I was teaching how to do stuff, and eventually he never really got a CNC. He never bought a laser and any of this stuff. And I didn't mind having him in the shop, but it got to be super excessive. Like very excessive. And I was
wearing out his welcome.
Yeah, and for the people that I'm really good friends with that I helped and have built their businesses, it's none of them because I told them to come over. It's none of the people that I've helped with projects because I told them to come over. But when people hit you up like, hey, you got time? And I'll be like, yeah, cool, in 5 minutes type deal. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. So stuff like that. That particular person kind of drove me up a wall. But typically if I'm telling you to come to my house because I want to help you with something or teach you something, that's my fault. Can't be mad.
Right.
But anyway,
Well, I always say that you learn most when you're teaching. So, it's one of those, it's probably a benefit for you as well.
You learn very quickly what you know and don't know when you're teaching.
Well, I'll say you learn that, but I think we also take a step back, right? So there's a lot of like basic things that we do and we take for granted or we get complacent doing. For example, sanding, right? So not using grit progression in those things. Maybe sometimes getting a little too excessive with the router and taking too big of chunks off and maybe throwing a piece across the garage. I don't know. Might have done it. Josh is like, no,
Hi, my name is Josh. I have thrown a piece of wood across my entire shop, which is not that long, with my table saw, my router table, you name it. Let's see, planer.
Yeah.
We can name it.
And not using a riving knife in your table saw, so stuff like that. Okay. So when you're teaching people like safety and how to do things in the shop, you go, shit, I haven't been doing this like this for a while. I probably should start doing this more. Yeah. Like I had one of those moments the other day. I had a small piece. It was like off to the left of the saw blade, pushing through, and it had a little burr on it, and it hit the saw blade, and it shot me in the leg. Now I have a 3 horsepower table saw, and that didn't feel good. So I went and grabbed my apron that is meant for catching things like that and not getting glue and things all over my my nice clothes. So
you guys have access to plate carriers, right?
Yeah, but they frown upon that. Grenade! But anyways, sorry, I digress. But
no, cool. I was just gonna ask Darren. So, you're working on the toy box in your shop. Tell us about your shop just a little bit. We don't have a ton of time left, but I'm kind of curious about the space.
Yeah, we got 10 or 15 minutes left because the story
time.
We're cutting it out. So
yeah, it's probably about the size of a 2-car garage. It's actually a separate shop right off of the garage. So I've still got. But that was one of the things I was looking for when we moved here. I was like, okay, I wanted dedicated space, because where I had been before, it was I was spread out between the basement and then, a small, along the wall in my garage. Yeah. And so when we moved up here, that was one of the big things I was looking for. And the previous owner happened to also be a woodworker, and that's what he built that for. And so the setup wasn't exactly
turnkey.
Setup wasn't quite right, and it still isn't, because I didn't mess with any of that when we moved in, and so it'll be a while before I actually get my workflow. I've got big plans, but that's about as far as they are right now, is just plans. But yeah, at some point I'll have to move things around. But it's technically heated. But I was doing some electrical work in the garage, and it's on the same circuit. And so I've got some bare wires. So I've got that circuit turned off. So it's wood heated currently.
Oh, but those are the best types.
And it's kind of nice though. I've got unlimited access to wood. We've got oak wilt, basically kind of ripping through the area. And so if you don't know, oak wilt, once it gets it's the tree's dead within about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so we've got lots of, just dead trees all over the place. So firewood is not
the emerald ash borer, but for oak.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's kind of the shop setup. But I've got, I guess, a pretty good selection of tools. I've got a 3 horsepower dust collection. Got that off a marketplace score. That was a great deal. Got a Powermatic, I think 60 HH joiner, so it's the 8-inch helical head joiner. Couple of lathes, table saw, bandsaw. I really like the Laguna bandsaw that I have, although I just broke a blade being dumb, trying to push a burl through it, and I didn't stabilize it. I thought I could do it,
BX?
and I couldn't, and so I broke it.
Laguna 14.
Yeah, the 1412. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. It's a great saw. I don't know if I like the ceramic bearings on them, or the guide bearings, bushings, whatever you want to call them. I don't. But
okay.
Aside from that, everyone's got their preference, I think, on that. So, but and then all sorts of random tools I've acquired over time. But
see, you had me at 2-car garage, and then you said it was separated. Then you lost me to pure hatred. No, that's awesome, dude. Honestly, North Dakota, they very few far in between you'll find that. Honestly, the separate garage with a shop, or shop, quote unquote setup.
Yeah.
The ones that you wanted for that were like $400K, and I was like, they don't make enough for that. So
pole barns everywhere up here's got pole barns. That was one of the things I was looking for too. Was like, well, if they got a pole barn, that'd be great too. Of course, it's harder to heat and everything else, but this was eventually where we landed. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. But the workflow is awful right now. I have to go basically. I run a marathon every time I have to build something, because I'm over in that corner and then I'm over there. It's it's a terrible workflow.
Do what I do. Get a smaller shop and you can put your hand on everything at the same time.
Yeah, that's not healthy, Josh.
You make the space work for you, right? That's the key.
Yeah. I can tell you, I spent about $1,500 making my space my own, because it was a garage with just slats. Had the particle board with the siding on the outside and no insulation, barely any outlets. I had to wire in. I think I wired in 10 total outlets, 2 of which are 220, and the other ones are all 110. And then I did the insulation, moisture barrier, sheetrock, and then went up top and cut a hole in this other piece of plywood and sprayed it with the spray insulation. It was a good time, and then installed an infrared gas heater. So there's
nice.
Boy knows how to live.
10 out of 10 is going to do it again.
Actually, you know what? I would, because I like that I was able to customize the garage
I guess
to what I wanted. But rewinding, I would have added more outlets.
Just do what I do. Drill holes through the wall. There's plenty on the other side.
No, negative. That's not happening.
I was going to say, how observant are your neighbors? Drill a hole through your neighbor's wall.
I thought about it. The guy's never outside. I think he works at night, works for the city. He'll never know. He'll be fine.
I don't know if you ever watch Fisher's Shop, but he always makes jokes about, just plug it into the neighbor's whatever. But
well, there's no jokes from Josh, is there, Josh?
That was the last house. I have yet to do that. Yeah.
But no, yeah. So I don't know. The next shop, I might not have a shop. So there's that. Yeah, we'll talk more about that offline. But anyways, people know I'm eventually leaving North Dakota, like sooner than later, like June.
Yeah.
Anyway,
outlets. That's what I don't have in my shop is 220 outlets. There was one in there, and my panel's not big enough to put more in. So basically, I have to hire an electrician, put in a new panel, But yeah, I could use some more 220. Basically, I've got 3 now. I had a couple more wired up.
I could use some more 220. Listen, my garage is 15 amps total, maybe. Okay, so like when I turn on the table saw, the wife knows about it. I have to pick and choose when I'm running it.
Tim, turn that damn table saw off. You're killing
me. There with you, and I think I have 20 amps.
It is horrible. I hate it.
That's the first time. I have only tripped the breaker once since I've been here, and pretty impressed with myself. So
I can't fire up the compressor when it's bitter cold because usually the sound is like she'll be sitting in the living room, she'll see the lights flicker, she'll hear the door open, stomp, 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 click, stomp, 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 back out to the garage. Oh my god, it's just bad. But that's it's in the queue of things to fix. Better power, all that good stuff.
Power is always going to be
an
issue. I feel like no matter Nap has a good setup. He put a lot of time into it, but he gets any more tools, he's going to need to drop another line somewhere.
He's going to have to get another service to the house.
No, I got 6 more spots. I counted.
I've counted.
Good. And honestly, now that I've got my, my apprenticeship from the Cracker Jack box for electrical work.
Nicely done.
No, I'm actually pretty good with electrical. A lot of good practices. I read code. I read the city code before I do anything.
Code.
No, I actually read the code. I was like, how much can I put in here before I need to have an electrician come look at this shit? And yeah, it was over a certain price. And the guy signed off on it saying that I did a good job. He came and looked at it all. I was like, yeah, you did a really good job. I was like, all right, sweet. So when can I get my certification?
He laughed and charged him another $20.
But
yeah.
Yeah, right. But no, I know how to run. If I wanted to run another line up in the drywall, I could do it. I just don't want to, because now that I know I'm possibly leaving, there's really no reason for me to explore that option.
Once you know you're not going to leave a place, code doesn't really matter anymore.
No, because it's all on the owner at that point.
Yep. And then if the insurance asks, it was like that when you bought the place.
I don't know.
Yep, they don't know better.
Just showed up there.
We're editing it. We're taking that out of this, by the way. Don't air that.
But I mean, asking for a friend. I mean, just
I've heard.
Rumor.
But no, I mean, having someone come certify the work was good, so I'm not too worried about it. And guess what? I got the guy's personal phone number. So when the person comes, looks at the house, if I either rent or sell this place, think about renting. There's not much of a renter's market here. It's mostly buying, but people do want to rent. I'll leave here with hopefully someone paying my mortgage on this house. So when I sell it, I can make something later.
What do you guys got on your workbenches here right now?
I'll probably save it for next time, honestly, because this stuff I got the same stuff as last time, minus the plaque here or there. And I'm I'm boring right now. Sorry. The only thing cool about me is I'm possibly moving to Louisiana, so that's really about it.
Louisiana? That's the opposite.
Yeah, I went from San Antonio to North Dakota to freaking Louisiana and possibly Louisiana. It's great. One extreme to the other, back to the other extreme, except humid extreme. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
I can see it in your face.
I'm sweating the minute I step out the car. I am 100% excited if I 100% get this job.
I'd rather take bitter cold than like sweaty armpit. Me personally.
You say that until it hits negative 72.
Dude, I've all I've ever known is bitter cold.
I'm a northern climate guy.
But I will
can't do the heat.
Yep, I gotta have my seasons.
I'm sorry, Tim. I said the same thing as you. You don't know cold till you come here. I thought the same being from Michigan and having the lake effect. Oh no, I was terribly mistaken.
Lake effect just gives you lots of snow. Being a little bit further from the lake gives you bitter cold.
And I'm very far from any lake except for Lake Darling, and it gets, like I said, negative 72 was the recorded temperature like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that wasn't like a record temp. That was 2 weeks ago.
No, it was not record temp actually, and that's terrible.
For those listening, glue does not cure well in negative 72.
My garage is 65 though.
Water cures very well though, actually at negative 72.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, my eyelids froze shut walking outside. It's great.
Open.
Would not recommend.
But yeah, Sam, let's put a bow on this thing and wrap it up so we can. Well, I'm gonna hang out with my baby because I got a month-old chilling in the
absolutely
room.
Cat's in the cradle, man. You got to hang out with him when you can.
If the cat's in the cradle, I'm kicking that fat thing out of the cradle. But yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap her up. Let's try your hand at the exit speech there, Tim.
Very good. Well, thanks, folks, for joining us for the 187th episode of Sawdust Nation. I just want to say to everybody, just despite any weather conditions, keep trying to actually make stuff. Keep making sawdust. And for gosh sakes, learn something and keep all your digits.
Yeah,
all of them.
I'm fine.
All of them. See? So am I. So am I.
Is that live long and prosper? Is that how that goes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Live long, stay attached, and prosper.
Live long, and I'm missing digits. But Darren, you got any words of encouragement or wisdom for the folks out there listening before we sign?
I don't have a lot of wisdom generally, but the one thing I did want to say is actually the reason I started listening to this podcast is because you guys had a different skill set than I had, and that was working with lasers, working with CNC, and obviously you do other things as well. But that was a point of interest for me. And when I first started listening, I think you guys were kind of starting out too in it. And so you've been learning as you go along. And so I have enjoyed learning along with you, even though I think laser and CNC is all ways away for me. I can see just tons of possibilities for it, even with just standard woodworking. And so just trying to absorb as much as I can for when that day comes, and I actually do want to pull the trigger. So I've just enjoyed learning along with you guys. So thank you.
CNC's a gateway drug, man.
So is a laser.
Don't get me. We'll talk about that gateway drug on the next episode because man, my pocket hurts.
Darren, where can we find you? Are you just on Instagram, YouTube, anything like
just
that?
On Instagram. Again, it's just more for me. It's just a place to kind of show some of the things that I'm working on. Find me on Instagram. I think I technically have a YouTube channel at some point, but I have no idea even what that is now. So, hit me up on Instagram.
Awesome,
we'll have his name in the mentions, folks, if you want to go ahead and check him out. But it is at DJ Troop, but it's spelled THROOP, hence the name Silent H Woodworks.
Got it. Hey.
Okay, so
very nice. Executed. Like he's done this before.
Once or twice.
He's getting better. He's
Once
learning.
or twice.
But Josh, anything?
hopefully, you guys get out there, you go make some sawdust and learn something every time you go in the shop. Because I don't know about you, but it's half the reason I like woodworking is because no matter what you do, you can learn something new. There's always an aspect in the shop where I can just figure it out and move on. But like, there's always something I've never even considered. Even during this episode today, Darren shared with us some things that like I didn't know you could do. So, if you're learning something, it goes a long way later on. And teaching is even better. So go out there, learn something, make some sawdust. Nap, paddywhack, give a dog bone.
This old dog will only home. Yeah, so just like always, I'll keep it short and sweet. Keep making community stronger. Keep helping each other out. Because as Darren said, one day he will pick up a CNC and or a laser, and he will probably reach out to us. And guess what? We'll receive the messages with open eyes, because we're not in person. But we will make sure that he's set up just the way we've set other folks up before, and those that have set us up before even then. So keep making the community stronger, keep helping each other out, and take care of each other, folks. Tim, take us out.
Sawdust Nation.
Out.
Oh. Yeah.
Well,
Is that,
froze.
is that
like,
a question?
Where'd he go? Who typed the question mark on the teleprompter?
Just want to make it think a little bit.
He reads everything on the teleprompter. Okay?
poop